After hours of repairing the reactor, Jace Miller felt a small but powerful victory. The station's Xylo 9 was still alive. The lights flickered more steadily. The hum of machines grew stronger, and life support systems kept breathing quietly in the background. But Jace knew this was only the beginning. The station was far from safe, and the unknown threat mentioned in the distress signal loomed like a dark shadow over everything. He returned to the control room, eyes scanning the rows of blinking consoles. Some systems were still offline, others running on backup power, but the station was responding. Slowly, steadily, it was waking up. Jace moved with purpose. The first step was restoring communications. If he could send a message, maybe help would come. Or at least he could warn others about the danger ahead. He searched through the dusty archives of Xylo 9, pulling out old transmitter modules and antenna parts. The alien communication equipment was unfamiliar but not impossible to understand. Using his engineering knowledge, Jace worked to repair the broken transmitters. Hours passed. The station's corridors echoed with the soft sounds of power flowing and machines humming to life. Jace felt the weight of loneliness but pushed it aside. Hope was stronger. Suddenly, a faint signal came through the static of the repaired comms system. It was weak, but it was real. Someone was out there. Jace's heart raced. He carefully adjusted the frequency and sent out a simple message in the common galactic language. "This is Jace Miller, human engineer stranded on station Xylo 9. Station operational. Request immediate assistance." He waited, eyes glued to the screen. Minutes felt like hours. Then a reply. "We copy, Jace Miller. This is the scout vessel Viren, standing by for further instructions." Relief flooded through him. He was not alone anymore. The Viren was a small alien scout ship from a neighboring system. Its captain, a tall figure named Kira, was cautious but curious. The aliens had been wary of humans, unknown and unpredictable, but hearing a human voice over their comms sparked hope. Jace sent back the coordinates and a status report. While waiting for the Viren to arrive, he returned to repairing the station. Every system he brought back online was a victory. Life support, navigation, energy grids, they all responded to his hands and mind. The station was no longer a dying ghost. It was becoming a fortress. Days passed. The Viren finally docked with Xylo 9. Kira and her small crew entered the station, their eyes wide with surprise. They expected a ruined shell, but instead found Jace alive and working tirelessly. At first there was tension. The aliens looked at Jace with doubt. Why had he survived? Why had he stayed? But Jace spoke calmly, explaining what had happened and what he was trying to do. His passion and skill won them over. Together they explored the station's damaged sections. Kira's crew shared knowledge about the alien technology, and Jace combined it with his own engineering experience. They discovered more damage caused by sabotage. Someone had attacked the station deliberately. The threat from the distress signal was real. A group known as the Shadari had sent a strike team to destroy the station and stop it from warning others. Now, with the Viren's help, Jace and his new allies worked to strengthen Xylo 9. They repaired shields, rebuilt weapon systems, and restored sensors. The station was becoming a symbol of resistance. Jace also scanned the station's databanks for any clues about the Shadari. He found hints of their movements and plans, but much remained a mystery. As the station hummed with renewed life, Jace found a small corner of peace in the chaos. He began personalizing his workspace, adding small Earth souvenirs he had brought with him. A worn photo of his family, a metal model of a starship, a small plant growing under a light. These small things reminded him of home and why he was fighting. One night, while running diagnostics in the reactor room, Jace paused to look out at the stars. The blackness of space felt less empty now. The station was alive. He was alive. And they were not alone. He knew the Shadari would return, stronger and more determined. But he was ready. Together with his new friends, he would face whatever came. For now, Xylo 9 beat with a new heartbeat, a human heartbeat, strong and unyielding. Would you like me to continue with part 3, or make any changes here? Certainly. Here's part 2 of your story. Around 1,300 words, simple and engaging. In third-person style. Part 2, The Heartbeat Returns. After hours of relentless work, Jace Miller finally sat back in the control room, his muscles aching but his spirit soaring. The hum of the station was different now, stronger, steadier. Systems that had been silent or flickering weakly were slowly coming back to life. The life support monitors displayed steady oxygen levels. The lights no longer blinked in panic. Silo 9 was breathing again. Jace's eyes scanned the bank of screens before him. Some were still dark. Many systems remained offline, but the progress was undeniable. The station, once on the verge of death, was awakening, piece by piece through his own hands. His mind raced ahead to the next critical challenge, communications. Without contact, he was isolated, cut off from any chance of rescue or warning others of the danger. He moved through the dimly lit corridors to the communications hub. Here, the alien tech was unfamiliar, sleek, and complex. But Jace was no stranger to learning new systems quickly. Dust motes floated in the stale air as he cleared debris and opened panel after panel. He found shattered antennas, broken circuits, and burnt-out transmitters. Each discovery brought a new problem, but Jace tackled them one by one, adapting alien parts and blending them with his own tools. Hours passed. Outside, the station hung silently in the vast emptiness. Inside, hope stirred. Then faintly, a crackle sounded through the static of the repaired comm system, a faint, broken signal. Jace froze, heart pounding. Could it be a rescue ship, an ally? Carefully, he adjusted the frequency, sending out a simple, clear message in the common galactic language. This is Jace Miller, human engineer on Station Xylo 9. Station operational. Request assistance. Silence followed. Seconds stretched. Then a reply. We copy, Jace Miller. This is the scout vessel Viren, standing by. Relief and excitement rushed through him. He wasn't alone. The Viren arrived a day later, docking smoothly against the station's battered hull. From its airlock stepped Kira, a tall alien woman with cautious eyes. Her species had long viewed humans with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Now seeing Jace alive and the station revived surprised her and her crew. Why did you stay? Kira asked, her voice steady but questioning. Jace wiped grime from his brow and met her gaze. Because giving up isn't an option. This station, this place, it can still help. We need to know what happened here and stop it from happening again. Kira studied him, then nodded slowly. Together, they toured Xylo 9. The damage was worse than Jace had imagined, and the signs of sabotage were clear. Cut wires, triggered traps, and deliberate system failures. The station hadn't just been abandoned. It had been attacked. Kira shared what little her crew knew of the Shadari, a shadowy faction bent on chaos and destruction. Their presence in the sector was a threat not just to Xylo 9, but to all nearby colonies. Working side by side, human ingenuity and alien technology combined. Jace and the Viren crew repaired the station's shields, rebuilt defense turrets, and restored the sensor arrays. Each repair brought renewed strength and hope. During quiet moments, Jace found himself at a small workstation where he placed a few keepsakes from Earth, a photo of his family, a small model spaceship, and a tiny plant growing under artificial light. These tokens grounded him, reminders of why he fought so hard to survive. One evening, standing by the viewport, Jace watched the stars glittering against the black void. The station was no longer just a forgotten relic. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, and Jace was ready for whatever came next. The stars shone cold and distant beyond the thick windows of the space station Xylo 9. Silent and dark, the station floated in the emptiness of space, crippled by an accident no one had expected. The alien crew, skilled and proud, had once operated the station with precision and care. But now the station was broken, power flickered, systems failed, and alarms screamed warnings that no one was there to hear. Jace Miller sat alone in the control room, his hands trembling as he watched the failing monitors. The last shuttle had left hours ago. Everyone else was gone. The aliens who had once worked alongside him evacuated in a hurry, leaving behind their precious equipment and, most cruelly, him. To them, Jace was just a human engineer, a useful tool but not worth risking. Now he was abandoned on a dying station, with nothing but the cold hum of failing machines. Jace's breath came slow and steady. Panic would not help. He was a survivor, a problem solver, a builder. They had left him to die, but he wasn't ready to give up. He rose from the chair and walked through the empty halls of Xylo 9, the silence pressing in around him. The walls once buzzed with life and conversation. Now only echoes answered his steps. The station's lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows that danced like ghosts on the metal floors. Dust drifted in beams of emergency light. settling on broken panels and twisted wires. Jace touched a nearby console, its screen cracked and dark. The control systems were badly damaged. Whatever had caused the disaster was severe, and no repair crew had arrived. Without power, the station's life support would fail soon. His time was limited, but where others saw ruins, Jace saw opportunity. He knelt by a broken pipe leaking coolant and thought carefully. The station was not just a broken machine. It was a puzzle waiting to be solved. Pieces could be taken from one part and used to fix another. Old protocols could be adapted. Systems could be rewired. He just needed to find the right parts and tools. He opened a small maintenance hatch and found a toolkit left behind by the alien crew. Some tools were strange, shaped differently from anything he had used on Earth, but he could figure them out. He grabbed his own wrench and started moving down the hall to the engineering bay. In the dim light, the engineering bay was a wreck. Sparks flew from exposed wires and the air smelled faintly of burnt circuits. Jace worked quickly, cutting power to dangerous lines and rerouting energy to the life support system. His fingers were steady despite the pressure. As he worked, memories flashed in his mind. On Earth, Jace had been a mechanic on a deep space mining ship. He had repaired engines, fixed broken machines, and kept his crew alive in the harsh void of space. This station was bigger and more complex, but the principles were the same. Fix the broken parts, keep the systems running, survive. Hours passed. The emergency lights flickered but held steady. Slowly, power returned to some systems. The station's hum grew louder, a weak but steady heartbeat in the vast silence. Jace allowed himself a small smile. Suddenly, a warning beep sounded from the main console, a small alert blinking red. Jace moved quickly to the panel and read the message. The station's main reactor was unstable and could fail at any moment. If that happened, Xylo 9 would be lost forever. He swallowed hard. Fixing the reactor was risky, but it was the only way to save the station, and himself. Jace pulled on his engineering gloves and headed to the reactor room. The corridor leading there was dark and cold. His boots echoed on the metal floor as he passed broken pipes and damaged panels. Dust swirled in the weak emergency lights. When he reached the reactor room, Jace took a deep breath and stepped inside. The massive core sat in the center, surrounded by consoles and control rods. It pulsed faintly, but the warning lights blinked urgently. Jace began his work, opening panels and inspecting circuits. The alien technology was strange, but with careful study, he understood its logic. The reactor's cooling system had failed, causing dangerous heat buildup. If it wasn't fixed soon, the core would overheat and explode. Using his own tools and parts scavenged from nearby systems, Jace began improvising repairs. He rerouted coolant lines and patched leaks with makeshift seals. Sweat dripped down his forehead, but he didn't stop. Hours passed like minutes. The reactor's pulse steadied. Warning lights dimmed and then vanished. Power stabilized. Jace allowed himself a brief moment of relief. He was alive. The station was still alive. Against all odds, he had brought the heart of Xylo 9 back to life. But survival was only the first step. Jace knew the alien crew had left for a reason. Something had gone wrong here, something dangerous. If he was to live, he needed answers. The station's logs held secrets, secrets he intended to uncover. He moved back to the control room and connected a data interface to the main computer. The system was old and damaged, but still functional. With patience and skill, Jace accessed the station's memory banks. Files and messages poured in. Most were technical data, but one stood out. A distress signal sent just before the evacuation. It spoke of an unknown threat approaching, a shadow moving through space with deadly intent. Jace's heart pounded. He was not just stranded on a broken station. He was on the front line of a coming danger. He stared out at the endless stars. The universe was vast and unforgiving, but humanity had a gift, hope, and the will to fight. Jace Miller, abandoned and alone, made a silent promise. He would not die here. He would rebuild the station. He would survive. And he would face whatever came next with the unbreakable spirit of a human engineer. The stars outside seemed to shine a little brighter. The Galactic Council's last hope, the once mighty Galactic Council, now fractured and desperate, convened in a final attempt to salvage their crumbling authority. High Chancellor Vrex, his towering form a shadow of its former self, addressed the assembly. "We have underestimated humanity," he began, his voice heavy with regret. Their resilience, their ingenuity, it surpasses anything we anticipated. Ambassador Thal, a seasoned diplomat from the Thal Corps, nodded in agreement. Our intelligence was flawed. Humanity is not a species to be taken lightly. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The Zorath's defeat was no longer an isolated incident. It was a harbinger of a new era. We must act, Vrex declared, slamming his fist onto the table. We cannot allow this threat to grow unchecked. Humanity's unyielding resolve back on Earth. President Elena Vasquez addressed the United Earth Assembly, her tone unwavering. The galaxy has underestimated us, she declared. They believed we were weak, that we would bow to their will. Now, they will learn the true strength of humanity. Under her leadership, Earth initiated the Final Stand Protocol. A vast network of sleeper agents embedded across various galactic systems was activated. These agents, trained in espionage and sabotage, began to dismantle the infrastructure of the Galactic Council from within. Simultaneously, Earth's fleet, bolstered by advanced technologies and strategic alliances, launched coordinated strikes on key Council worlds. The attacks were swift and decisive, crippling the Council's ability to respond effectively. The Coalition's counteroffensive. In response, the Galactic Council mobilized its forces. The Vrex led a formidable armada, while the Thalkor deployed their most skilled diplomats to negotiate with neutral systems. However, their efforts were hampered by internal divisions and the unexpected resilience of humanity's resistance. Ambassador Thal met with President Vasquez in a rare diplomatic encounter. Your species is proving to be more formidable than we anticipated, she admitted. President Vasquez responded with a calm yet firm expression. We are not your adversaries, Ambassador. We seek peace, but make no mistake, we will defend our sovereignty at all costs. The turning point as the conflict escalated, a pivotal moment arrived. The Galactic Council, recognizing the untenable nature of their position, proposed a ceasefire. A summit was arranged to discuss terms. At the summit, President Vasquez presented humanity's terms: full recognition of Earth's sovereignty and autonomy, withdrawal of all Council forces from human-controlled territories, establishment of a neutral zone for diplomatic relations. The Council members deliberated. The cost of continued conflict was evident. Reluctantly, they agreed to the terms: a new galactic order. The agreement marked a new chapter in galactic history. Humanity had emerged not as a conquered species, but as a sovereign power. The once dominant species of the galaxy now had to reckon with a new power that would no longer tolerate oppression. President Vasquez addressed the United Earth Assembly once more. We have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be oppressed. We will stand tall, not in defiance but in dignity. The galaxy, now aware of humanity's strength and resolve, would never underestimate Earth again. The reckoning had begun, and humanity had proven its place in the cosmos. The Coalition's last stand. The Galactic Council, once a symbol of unity and power, now found itself fractured and desperate. The unexpected resilience and strategic brilliance of humanity had turned the tide of war. High Chancellor Vrex convened a final summit, urging the remaining Council members to formulate a decisive response. We cannot allow humanity to dictate the future, Vrex asserted, his tone laced with urgency. We must strike back with all our might. Ambassador Thal, though hesitant, nodded in agreement. If we do not act now, we risk losing everything. The Council's decision was swift: a full-scale assault on Earth's homeworld to cripple humanity's core. The human response back on Earth. President Elena Vasquez addressed the United Earth Assembly, her voice unwavering. The galaxy has underestimated us, she declared. They believed we were weak, that we would bow to their will. Now they will learn the true strength of humanity. Under her leadership, Earth initiated the Final Stand Protocol. Allied fleets, bolstered by advanced technologies and guerrilla tactics, prepared to defend their home. General Lucas Graves, a seasoned strategist, oversaw the defense operations. We will not yield, he affirmed. This is our world and we will protect it at all costs. The battle for Earth. The Coalition's armada descended upon Earth, their warships blotting out the sky. The first wave targeted major cities, unleashing devastating barrages. But humanity was prepared. In the skies above, Earth's defense fleets engaged the invaders in a fierce aerial battle. On the ground, resistance fighters launched coordinated strikes, sabotaging enemy supply lines and communication networks. The Resolute, Earth's flagship, led the counteroffensive. Its advanced weaponry tore through the coalition's forces, turning the tide in humanity's favor. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity's resolve remained unbroken. Each fallen city became a rallying point, each victory a testament to their indomitable spirit. The turning point as the battle raged on, a coalition warship, the Dominion, breached Earth's atmosphere, aiming to deliver a crippling blow. General Graves aboard the Resolute devised a daring plan to intercept and destroy the vessel. "We have one chance," he briefed his crew. "We strike now, or we risk losing everything." The Resolute's fleet engaged the Dominion in a high-stakes maneuver, weaving through enemy fire to deliver a concentrated assault. The Dominion succumbed to the onslaught, its destruction sending shockwaves through the coalition's ranks. The loss of their flagship demoralized the invaders. Reports of the Dominion's fall spread rapidly, sowing discord among the coalition forces. The aftermath, with the coalition's forces in disarray, humanity seized the opportunity to launch a decisive counterattack. Resistance movements across the galaxy rallied, coordinating strikes against remaining council strongholds. Ambassador Thal, witnessing the unraveling of the coalition, initiated peace negotiations with Earth's leadership. "We have underestimated you," she admitted, "but we are willing to negotiate a ceasefire." President Vasquez, though wary, agreed to the talks. "We seek peace," she stated, "but we will not be subjugated again." The negotiations were tense, but a fragile peace agreement was eventually reached. The Galactic Council recognized Earth's sovereignty, and hostilities ceased. A new era, the galaxy, once dominated by the Council's influence, now stood at the dawn of a new era. Humanity had proven its strength and resilience, earning respect across the stars. President Vasquez addressed the United Earth Assembly once more. "We have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be oppressed," she proclaimed. "We will stand tall not in defiance but in dignity." The galaxy, now aware of humanity's strength and resolve, would never underestimate Earth again. The reckoning had begun, and humanity had proven its place in the cosmos. The Galactic Council's dilemma. The Galactic Council convened in a state of unprecedented urgency. The recent events had shaken the very foundations of their power. High Chancellor Vrek stood before the Assembly, his expression grave. "We have underestimated humanity," he began, his voice carrying the weight of realization. "Their resilience, their ingenuity, it surpasses anything we anticipated." Ambassador Thal, a seasoned diplomat from the Thal Corps, nodded in agreement. "Our intelligence was flawed. Humanity is not a species to be taken lightly." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The Zorath's defeat was no longer an isolated incident. It was a harbinger of a new era. Humanity's strategic response back on Earth, the leaders were not idle. President Elena Vasquez addressed the United Earth Assembly, her tone resolute. "The galaxy has been warned," she declared. "We will not be subjugated. We will not be silenced." Under her leadership, humanity initiated the Reckoning Protocol. A vast network of sleeper agents, embedded across various galactic systems, was activated. These agents, trained in espionage and sabotage, began to dismantle the infrastructure of the Galactic Council from within. Simultaneously, Earth's fleet, bolstered by advanced technologies and strategic alliances, launched coordinated strikes on key Council worlds. The attacks were swift and decisive, crippling the Council's ability to respond effectively. The Council's countermeasures. In response, the Galactic Council mobilized its forces. The Vreks led a formidable armada, while the Thal Corps deployed their most skilled diplomats to negotiate with neutral systems. However, their efforts were hampered by internal divisions and the unexpected resilience of humanity's resistance. Ambassador Thal met with President Vasquez in a rare diplomatic encounter. "Your species is proving to be more formidable than we anticipated," she admitted. President Vasquez responded with a calm yet firm expression. "We are not your adversaries, Ambassador. We seek peace, but make no mistake, we will defend our sovereignty at all costs. The turning point, as the conflict escalated, a pivotal moment arrived. The Galactic Council, recognizing the untenable nature of their position, proposed a ceasefire. A summit was arranged to discuss terms. At the summit, President Vasquez presented humanity's terms: full recognition of Earth's sovereignty and autonomy, withdrawal of all council forces from human-controlled territories, establishment of a neutral zone for diplomatic relations. The council members deliberated. The cost of continued conflict was evident. Reluctantly, they agreed to the terms: a new galactic order. The agreement marked a new chapter in galactic history. Humanity had emerged not as a conquered species, but as a sovereign power. The Galactic Council, once the unchallenged authority, now recognized Earth's place among the stars. President Vasquez addressed the United Earth Assembly once more. We have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be oppressed. We will stand tall not in defiance but in dignity. The galaxy, now aware of humanity's strength and resolve, would never underestimate Earth again. The reckoning had begun, and humanity had proven its place in the cosmos.